Hey everybody, David here from multitool.org. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Xarilk knife sharpener. I was going to try and do a unboxing, but it's a little difficult with the setup that I have to do an unboxing and have it look decent because my phone would have to be a long distance away from the package, etc. So I've got the parts laid out here on the table that I'm going to put you on the mount when I have it assembled, and then take you off again so you can see the product before I start to use it. The unit itself comes in the box with 2 clamps. Comes with your riser that helps hold your guide rod in place. Then you will have the stone arm, I would call it, and then your guide rod. So and the base, as well as the rotational clamp. So give me a minute here, we'll switch gears and we will assemble it. Okay, so assembly is pretty easy. Your clamps, to make sure that the screws are in the upper position. I try and make sure that my clamps are equal distance apart for clamping a knife in it. So I'm going to put one there and put the other one about equal distance to the other one apart, so we'll say about there. Oh, here I am putting it upside down while I'm trying to do this, huh? Alright. Probably close enough. And your riser, the little piece that holds the guide rod, will drop in there. This is adjustable, so if you want to make some finer adjustments you can, but I've been using it leveled all the way down. The other thing is the guide rod, the stone holder. Guide rod will go through there. You'll insert it into the back of the stone holder and screw it in. There's a little thumb screw here on the end of the stone holder that helps lock this in place. Because the Gen 2 model, I had some issues where during sharpening this would become unscrewed from the stone arm. So it's good that they've got this there to help lock it in place and not have anything come unscrewed or whatnot. Let's take you off real quick so you can see things up close. Okay, so the Gen 3, the main differences would be the old model had a single clamp, which is good for a lot of smaller knives. This is more aimed at kitchen knives and whatnot. You could get these close enough together to probably sharpen some smaller 4-inch blades, but this will mainly handle kitchen. I've been talking with the company to see if they can develop an adapter similar to what other companies use to sharpen smaller knives, an L adapter, something to put the clamps in the center, and that way we could cover more models. The sharpener itself consists of a base, consists of a rotating mechanism to flip the knife blade back and forth, and a stone arm, stone holder. You check your angle. On this particular model we have different pictures of knives, whether it be a razor blade all the way down to a kind of a hunting knife to help probably give a visual reference of degrees as opposed to numbers like their last one. It printed the actual degrees for your edge on the side. The opposite side of the unit is the dial, which will move your angle up and down. 20 degrees is pretty much locked at the bottom, which is where I have it for the knife that we'll be sharpening today. Rotating the clamp is done via this lever here. We'll pull the lever towards you, which will cause a rotation of the clamp, and then you'll press it back in place to lock it and make sure it doesn't move. But let's put you back up top. I've got a really dirt cheap kitchen knife that I've had in my kitchen for a while to do some chores with. Something I inherited, not the best of quality, probably tin can material, I would have to say, but needless to say, it will get sharp. Let's check out things in action, folks. All right, so we're going to put the knife in the clamp. We're going to clamp. I think I'm going to have it this way. Tightening the clamp is done with a Allen head wrench that is included in the box. My clamp appears to be, my Allen appears to not want to work really good on the elbow portion of the wrench. Don't know why that is, and I need to be a little more centered. I got a bad habit of thinking out loud, so forgive me. Make sure we are tightened down good so we ain't got no movement while we're sharpening. There are three stones that come with the Gen 3. We have a 320. Flip those around so you guys can see them. A 320 and 800 and a 1200 grit stone. We're going to start off with 320 because this knife is relatively dull. I've sharpened it in the past using freehand method. We're going to do this with the Xarilk Gen 3 instead. There is another screw on the end of this to help lock things in place. All right. We're going to get to sharpening. Okay, so I don't have this tight enough. Got some blade movement going on. The blade is relatively thin, so things will move a little bit unless I have them clamped down good. This knife is relatively soft steel, probably like a 420 or probably something worse than it. Pretty soft. I've already developed a burr on most of the edge already. Need to work it just a little bit more down here. On the base of the blade. Yep, I've developed a burr all on the edge. I'm going to do a couple forward sweeps to help minimize the scratch pattern, have all the scratches on the blade in the same direction. Right, we're going to rotate the blade over so we can start working on the other side. I'm going to release the lock on the clamp. We're going to rotate. We're going to clamp it back in place. We're going to repeat the same process that we did on the other side. Now in hindsight, guys, I'm realizing as this is clamped, probably need to move this clamp further out, because as I'm sharpening, I'm getting some flex on the blade. So whenever I do this in the future, I may want to adjust, otherwise I'm going to have some issues in getting a tip. Well, I may have to do it now, because as I'm hitting over here, I'm having a hard time hitting that tip like I need to, and I'm probably going to run into some issues on having the edge being consistent. So let's make that adjustment real quick. We'll just loosen up this clamp. We'll adjust here. I'm going to slide it out some. I'm going to go all the way to the end. Make sure I don't have a whole lot of wiggle on that tip. Okay. I'll go back over again. Having a knife firmly in the clamp is a very important thing. You don't want any movement whatsoever to change the angle on your edge as you're moving the stone across. Make sure I get that tip good now. And I wasn't hitting it before. Much better. Well, we probably have developed one heck of a burr all along the edge, which we have, which is good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip it back over again, and I'm going to do some light passes on this side to help break this burr off, or try and minimize it before we move on to the 800 grit. And I'm not going to do any back and forth passes. I'm just going to do some sweeps. I'm not used to doing this on camera, guys. I'm trying to make sure I don't mess up here. Kind of. You're going to get zen when you do this, and you kind of get focused in what you're doing. Okay. Burr has flipped back over. I might run it one more time. We'll say two. We'll say two. Alright. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch stones. We're going to go to the 800 grit stone. Pull back on our stone holder. Oh, that's right. I got it locked. I have to release it. Grab the 800. Put the 800 in. The spring on the Gen 3 is very, very tight. A lot more than Gen 2. Kind of have to really pull back to get that to release. Like with the 320 grit, we're going to develop a burr on the back side of the blade and then come back again, back to this side. What we're doing as we move to the grits from 320 to 800 is we are refining the scratch pattern on the blade. We're actually taking that edge, and the edge was set with 320, but it's a really coarse grit, a lot of stress lines in the steel itself. So by going to 800 and then the 2000, we're going to be minimizing those lines and helping that edge be a lot smoother. And as we're moving up, generating a burr is going to be really, really easy because our apex has already been reached. How some of you guys don't want to do is go too far and go over the tip. You want to stop where the tip is. You kind of want to go across and then go up as you're coming towards the tip. Because what that'll do is that'll help keep that point of your tip very acute. If you do it and you're falling off the edge of the blade, you're hitting the blade, you're going to take that tip and round it off. Make doing things delicate with that tip more difficult, and you won't have that refined point. See, but again, I'm getting a little careless. This was one of my higher end knives, the pocket knives. I probably would be really taking my time, but you guys probably don't want a 20-minute sharpening demonstration, huh? I've got a ton of different sharpening systems from TS Prof, Hapstone, KME, Edge Pro. This being my second Xarilk, I guess is how we say the name, Xarilk, Z-A-R-L-I-L-K. Moving there too. One of the complaints that I had about this system was the lack of rubber pads. The issue that I'm having with this Allen is it's kind of rounded on the end, not as crisp as it is on the other end. So doing this, trying to tighten it here, it's kind of slipping out of the heads, or maybe it might not be a well-formed head there. That's giving me the issues. All right, we're gonna do the other side. We're gonna do the same thing as we did with the 800 grit. Go this side, help further refine that scratch pattern. And polishing the edge of that knife. Let's see. We're pretty defined with a good burr on that side. Like before we did on the last stone, we're just gonna do a couple passes, and then we'll go to the 2000 stone. Trying to minimize that burr between grits. All right. The Xarilk stones, or diamond plates, whatever we want to call them, they have plastic backing instead of aluminum. I like aluminum because there's less flex when sharpening against something. Also, Xarilk says that they don't recommend any kind of lubricant, whether we use oil or water. KME and other companies recommend water. For some reason, they don't recommend anything. I do not know about the longevity of the stones, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, we're gonna go with this 2000 grit, which is the highest. Like most kits for sharpening knives, they're usually going to end about 1,000 or 2,000, which should result in a pretty high polish on our edge. Knock around the kitchen knife like this one, not something high-end like my Victorinox or something else. This knife probably won't It doesn't require a 2000 great sharpened edge, but for demonstration purposes here, you know. This is a knife I haven't tended to in a long time. It just sat in the block because I felt it was this cheap, inferior steel blade. Here in the South, people often use kitchen knives as screwdrivers and anything else, you name it. And this knife has been abused, not loved at all. That's probably not a lot. That's probably enough on that side. There's a high degree of polish on that edge right now. We're gonna flip over. We're gonna do the other side. I'm trying to really polish that edge. After we get this done, we will do a cutness test. Cut test, whatever you want to call it. I can never get my grammar correct. This knife before was like a butter knife. Its level of sharpness was probably an indication of its quality, but we'll see. I can't tell if that moved again. Because that appears as I've been sharpening, this moved out. I mean, you know, moved in further. Because as I'm sharpening, I'm hitting the edge of the clamp right there. So let's just finish this up since I'm about done. But I recommended to the company that we needed to have some rubber clamps or something different here going on because I can't seem to clamp down like I need to. Whoops. Okay. We'll do a couple passes while I'm at it because it's going to irritate me here. Oh, see, it's in the clamp good, and I'm not applying a whole lot of pressure to that blade to sharpen it, but I don't like the fact that that blade walked inward while I was sharpening. And it's not for lack of trying on my behalf, trying to get that clamp to stay put. I'm going to do some back and forth a little bit, like a 4-3-2-1 kind of thing. Trying to help keep that burr straight down the center. Kind of working it back and forth. I got in the habit of not putting this clamp down all the way for the simple fact that it's very tight. So I'll kind of hold it in place after I rotate and put enough pressure so that it's not going to move. Because trying to get it unlocked requires enough effort that it almost requires me to use two hands. Another complaint I had about the Xarilk is the base. The whole entire unit is made out of aluminum, and there's no weight to the unit is so lightweight, it wants to move around on me. Some of it is my very rugged technique here. I usually do things on my kitchen table, but I did it on the coffee table here because it's a little more cleared off. Like some homes, our kitchen table's a catch-all, and figure that y'all didn't want to see all that, so coffee table it is. And I guess a good thing that we can see from this video is, even though I've had a lot of experience with different systems, that a system like Xarilk on a cheap old hunk of junk knife should create an edge that is super sharp. Oh, wasn't paying attention there. Things moving on me. That comes to something I want to mention. With a lot of systems, this will move up and down. Your guidepost for the angle arm is usually what determines your height of your angle, and the clamps are usually horizontal to the base. So whenever you unclamp the knife from the base, you know, whenever you unclamp the knife, you don't have to worry about it sliding backwards on you because it's at an angle and, you know, having gravity take effect. Instead, they stay level. So that is a slight little thing between clamping strength, not having rubber pads like Gen 2, having the system being angled a little bit, and I'm loosening. Of course, I'm probably being a little careless. Just little nitpicky stuff. I didn't mention before, there is on your angle for adjusting your height. It is a little wobbly. I don't like that. A little wobbly. I don't know if there's a way to tighten it. And this lock here is whenever you adjust your angle up or down to keep it from moving, you'll lock it in place. Let's go get a strop. I'm going to strop the edge of this real quick, and I'm going to use some paper to test the quality of this edge. For some reason I seem to have misplaced my Beavercraft strop, so we're just going to use just a strop I have from a different sharpening system. It'll be from the people at SharpWorks. See if I can get to the edge of the table. Make this test a little bit easier because this blade is so long. I'd show you guys the edge on this, but some of the freehand sharpening I've done has really buggered that edge. The edge is less than camera worthy. Oh, I guess you guys can probably see it, but it's not the greatest of quality of edges. Let me see if we can zoom. So a lot of it's me. Technique. Yeah, we really can't see nothing, can we, folks? We'll see. Level of sharpness, anyways, let's say. We'll zoom back out here. So we should have a knife now. Not perfect. Probably needs a little more work on my behalf. But I just took a knife that was super dull, like butter knife dull, and zoom out here some. Knife that is now able to process chicken, other things like vegetables. Seems I didn't get back here as good as I needed to. It was more center of the blade. It was just me, because back here, see that, I really kind of need to saw through it, but the rest of the blade, a lot better, a lot better. Very keen edge compared to what I had before. You know, I was telling you guys about people in the South here using things like they're not supposed to be using. Before I started testing this blade out and seeing what I could do to get it sharpened freehand, you guys might be able to see it. The tip is a little bent, kind of cocked off to the side. It was a fact that somebody did some light prying with it, perhaps more than light. But anyways, there you guys go. The Xarilk Gen3 knife sharpener. If you guys have any questions, be sure to ask me down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. And maybe we'll see a Gen 4 or maybe a revised Gen 3 that might fix some of these little things with this system that I have some gripes with. Not major though. I mean, as a whole, anybody that's never sharpened before wants to put a keen edge on a blade. Most people aren't going to want insanely shaving sharp edges. This is more than enough for any individual that's not into sharpening, and it's at a good price point as well. Thank you guys.